All right. Hello. Welcome everyone to a brand new iteration of this class for me. We're taking it into the digital era, welcoming Rap Rhetorics into the internet space. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself, aren't I? Hello. I am Dr. Spencer Bennington, aka Dr. B. And if you're watching this, then you are about to go on a fascinating journey with me to learn a little bit more about college level writing, rhetoric, composition, and along the way, maybe even a thing or two about music and some other fun stuff. So I am recording this video right now as a way to welcome you to this class, to this new semester, and as a way to introduce myself and as a way to kind of test out some of this new technology. So hopefully the auto captioning is working at an acceptable rate, maybe not perfect, but we're giving it a shot. I've got some like microphones set up, blurring my background. I'm really like teched out over here, everyone. Okay, so I'm doing my thing, just trying to start my streamer career. But before I do, I think I'll teach this class. So I want to tell you a little bit about me first, just because, you know, some of you may be taking this class totally online. And so when you see videos like this, I want you to feel like you're getting to know me a little bit better, getting maybe some of that classroom experience that you might be missing out on otherwise. And if you're in my face-to-face class, well then great, just double the trouble, double the fun, right? So you get more of me. What's not to love? But yeah, so I'm trying to make these videos kind of for everyone in that way. But any hoodles, so who am I? Well, I am going to be your professor. And what do I know about anything? Well, I earned my bachelor's in English at a very small school in my hometown of Danville, Virginia, Averett University. Maybe you've heard of it, but maybe you haven't, and that's okay. But I did my master's here locally in the New River Valley. That's where, well, maybe I gave myself away. I live now in the New River Valley, but I did my master's years ago at Radford University, and then earned my PhD in rhetoric and composition at the University of South Florida in Tampa. And so now I'm kind of teaching all over, and that's yet another reason for videos like this, so that I can keep up with multiple groups at multiple different campuses, asynchronously, synchronously, what have you, okay? Why did I study so much English? Well, I first started because I really wanted to do creative writing. I loved writing. In fact, actually, I was not a good reader almost all the way through high school, probably into college. I actually don't think of myself right now as a particularly strong reader, and yet you're in my class, and so I don't know. I don't know what that means for all of us, but I always loved writing and storytelling. And so I wanted to do that. So I thought that studying English was my way in. And you know, I kind of always joke that by the end of my English bachelor's degree program, the options laid out before me were, you know, go to graduate school, study more English, or get a job at Starbucks. And so I chose graduate school, and I'm glad I did, because when I went to Radford, I got the opportunity to learn more about teaching writing. And then once I got into the classroom and I found out how much fun teaching was, I was like, wow, this is it. This is the jam. So then I wanted to professionalize as a teacher. So that's why I decided to go ahead and get the PhD as well, so that I could do it full time. And I'm happy. I'm very happy about all that. So here we are. Now, coming at my English degrees from that background, I am very much still interested in the fun and the creativity of writing and the storytelling elements of writing. So I may challenge you to you know, get a little creative from time to time, and I hope that I hope that's fun for you. But at the same time, for the past 6 years or so, I've been teaching primarily professional and technical communication. So preparing people to write in the business world, preparing people to write genres like reports or data visualizations, things like that. So I feel like throughout my the past decade or so of teaching college level writing, I've taught a variety of creative writing, professional and technical communication. I've even taught a literature course here and there. So I've really just touched all the different corners of the English department. And so what I'm getting at is that I hope that those various experiences create a classroom for you that at least this course is, offers something for everyone. That's what I'm hoping anyway, because I know a lot of people are going to come into a class like this and they don't want to take a first year writing class or maybe a writing class at all. And that's okay. That's okay. But I hope that your opinion changes ever so slightly as we continue through this semester. That's one of my goals. So speaking of goals, I want to talk a little bit about the goals of this course as I see them. Now, you can read through your student learning objectives on your syllabus. I encourage you to do that. You can read more about the goals of the writing program on your university website. Definitely do that. But what I want to talk about is just kind of how I think of these courses generally. And some things that I expect you to walk away having a better understanding of by the end of this semester. So what's the point? Why take a first year writing course? My first big answer is to kind of help you unlearn some of the things that you may have learned in high school or grade school. The kinds of writing you may have been taught before were likely geared toward test taking, maybe more toward efficiency, write this way so that it's easier for a person to grade hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. But they're not necessarily techniques that have prepared you to write in real public, academic, or professional contexts. And so a first year writing course at the college level says, well, we want to help professionalize you. We want to help mature you as a writer in a real rhetorical context, in a real discourse community, whatever you want to call it, right? So we're trying to take that leap from the imaginary, right, the school assignment, student writing, to the real, the practical things that you could write and make use of in the real world, writing that can solve problems, writing that is actionable. That's a huge difference. And so I hope that for even my students out there that are a little bit more STEM minded, I used to tell my engineers particularly, the writing that we're doing here is just as action oriented as that, machine you're designing, that program you're writing over there, if you do it correctly. Okay. So keep that in mind. Now, part of what I'm saying here, it gets at this idea that we'll be talking about all semester, this concept of rhetoric and rhetorical awareness or rhetorical knowledge. And when I talk about it, I'm going to keep it real simple. If I ever talk about rhetoric, I want you to just, boom, dap me up. DAP, okay? DAP stands for design according to audience and purpose. And if you dap me up, you're never going to forget what rhetoric means, because all we're doing when we're designing something rhetorically or writing something, thinking about something rhetorically, is we're considering what the audience needs or expects and the purpose that you or other folks may be involved are trying to accomplish. And remember that your audience has purposes as well, sometimes that might conflict with your own. So rhetorical knowledge is understanding the connections between all of those things that affect communication in context. And so that's a big topic, right? And that's why we talk about it all semester. But that's a huge one for what separates college level writing courses from high school or perhaps earlier writing courses or English courses. One other big thing I would consider is the concept of multimodality or multimodal design. So in this class, yeah, I want you to read and write, but I understand that composition, that word, stretches beyond just writing script, alphabetic text. You can design, oh, well, look at me, I'm recording a video right now. This is a way that I've chosen to communicate with you multimodally. I'm excited about the captioning because it's creating a transcript as I speak into a microphone, and you can see my face in this video. Okay, so this is a concept of multimodal design, thinking about how to write texts like this one that involve much more than just written letters on a page or typed letters in a Word document even. So those are some of the big differentiating factors. And the other big one that I want to touch on just real quickly, and I'm going to actually have you write about this later this week in a discussion, but one big difference I see is that, at least in my class, I'm not here to police you in the slightest. And what I mean by that is I'm not going to tell you word counts generally. I'm not going to tell you how many pages typically. You know, I will tell you things like you need more, right? You can expand, right? You need additional research or citations here to make this point because you're not doing it yet, right? I'll tell you things like this works, this doesn't work, this meets the genre expectations, this doesn't, right? And I'm hoping that the absence of those kinds of arbitrary rules you might be used to in other English or writing classes makes you feel a bit more free to really invent and express yourself and take the time to revise and transform something into writing or a composition that you're proud of. So we'll talk more about that, but just know that that is not the kind of writing class that this is going to be. I'm not whipping out my red pen looking for grammar mistakes. No, I'm here to offer you opportunities to improve in all aspects of communication, as well as all aspects of your college career. This being a first year course, I'm really just here to help. I want to help make you connections that will advance you academically, professionally, publicly, whatever you're looking to do. Okay. So I carry I hold a wide burden. All right. But I really am here to help. So even, especially my online only folks, reach out anytime. Okay. Make sure that you are emailing me. We can set up a time to chat. You can talk to me just like this, right? That goes for my face-to-face folks too, all my students, right? I'm here for you. I work for you. I serve you. Okay. So I don't want this video to get terribly long. I will say, speaking of email, that is the best way to contact me, through my university email. And that is the way that I will respond most quickly. Please don't message me in Canvas or Teams or any of those other things. Directly university email, please. Okay. And I will respond pretty quickly. Some things I want to talk about before I wrap this video up is I wanted to give you an idea of what we're going to be reading, what we're going to be writing about. How does a class like this work? Well, my goal is to teach you writing. It's to help you professionalize in these different rhetorical contexts. But to do that, I think we need to be having conversations about texts that we're all reading or listening to, watching, whatever. And so for this course, what I've decided to do is focus most of our discussions around hip hop texts. And that's right, hip hop texts. So what does that mean? Well, it means we're going to be listening to a lot of music. There's a lot of music on the syllabus. It means I've linked quite a few music videos as well. So if you're more into visual rhetoric, visual artistic stuff, that's an avenue for you. It means that we're going to be engaging in conversations with different public groups about the significance of particular lyrics or musical genres or political movements within artistic movements. What it really means is that we get to have an interesting set of conversations about American history and art and culture. And throughout, we're going to be investigating these threads of racist and anti-racist ideas and policies, and investigating those, as well as the rhetorical situations in which they were created or spread or whatever. And I hope that you'll find it interesting, because we'll be making connections between hopefully music that you find pretty interesting or relevant, as well as some classic texts, speeches, other famous texts that maybe you don't know so much about, but really informed. Whoa, I just smacked my microphone. But maybe those texts really informed some art or whatever in your own life that is really important. So anyway, we'll talk more about that. I'll have to make another video that goes a little bit deeper into the major projects for this course, as well as some of the bigger themes in terms of what we're reading and listening to, and how that all is going to be tied together. But I will say, since I'm talking about it, with hip hop texts being such a large part of this particular course, I want to go ahead and say up front that there is a lot of explicit material, a lot of explicit content that we'll be discussing. There's a lot of language that people may not find appropriate. There's a lot of references to acts of violence against marginalized communities. We're going to be studying a whole gamut of different texts that I think are triggering, a lot of them in very different ways. And so why am I saying this? Well, because I respect that I don't want any of my students to have a bad time. Okay, I really don't. I don't want this class to be something that hurts you. Okay, so I'm just saying this right now up front, that there are texts that I've put on the syllabus, there are songs that I would like for us to discuss, but at any point throughout this semester, if there are texts that you would rather not engage with, you'd rather not read, write about, for whatever reason, or you try, and it's just not working, that is totally fine, okay? There are always going to be alternate assignments available to you if you just can't get through it, okay? And no explanation necessary. And in fact, I've tried to design most of the writing tasks to give you some freedom of choice, so that you're never particularly forced into hopefully something that's not so triggering. But anyway, that's another good thing to just email me about anytime you're struggling with the text in a course. If you want to talk about options, or if you want to do something a little bit different for the assignments, fine, just let me know, okay? So again, use that university email me directly, and we will figure out something, okay? So the last thing I'll say is just that I think once you take a look at my syllabus, it'll become clear that the thing I care about most is my students, and I just want to help you, okay? So I've designed a class that I think is cool, and that I think is a fun and useful way to teach you the concepts that are important for college level writing. But I'm also super flexible, and I recognize that you're the one paying to be here. So let me know what I can do to make this an even more awesome experience for you, and I'll do my best. And at the very least, I will make improvements for the next round of students. Okay, so I'm a teacher for life, so help me constantly improve. That's what I ask. Hopefully this has been enough of an introduction. This video should be appearing on a discussion board, where I'm now asking you to introduce yourselves to me and each other. So have fun with that. And I will be posting another video soon that talks a little bit more about the actual assignments, things that we're going to be doing this semester. Okay, so talk to you soon.